Amtrak's new Superliner car is finally on the way. For decades, Amtrak Superliner cars have been iconic symbols of cross-country rail travel. But let's be honest, they're outdated. And they've been riding the rails for over 40 years. Now, after years of speculation, delays, and growing passenger frustration, Amtrak is finally moving forward with a long-overdue replacement. This isn't just a facelift, it's a turning point for the future of long-distance train travel in America. In today's episode of On the Trains, we'll break down the big announcement, what to expect from the new fleet, and what this could mean for the next generation of rail passengers. Amtrak's vision. Before we dive into Amtrak's long-term goals, let's first explore why the Superliners are being replaced. While the Superliners may still carry a sense of retro charm, behind the scenes, they're pushing the limits of what aging rail equipment can handle. Some haven't seen a factory floor since the late 1970s, and with rising maintenance costs, scarce parts, and mounting service delays, Amtrak has reached a crossroads: overhaul or fall behind. Amtrak's choice? A once-in-a-generation overhaul. Through its long-distance fleet replacement (LDFR) program, Amtrak is launching the largest equipment acquisition in its history, by both cost and volume. This massive initiative aims to redefine long-distance train service for decades to come, starting with the retirement of hundreds of aging Superliner and single-level cars. Backed by up to $7 billion from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, the first phase will deliver new bi-level rail cars for 9 of Amtrak's 15 long-distance routes. And the need couldn't be clearer. Amtrak's long-distance fleet included 765 rail cars from 5 different generations, many of them long past their prime. In fiscal year 2023, the long-distance service line carried 3.9 million passengers. That's 14% of total ridership, yet it contributed over 25% of ticket revenue. Even though these routes often operate at a financial loss, they provide essential mobility and economic connections for communities across the country. There's also history behind this push. In 1979, Amtrak had to cancel routes like the Floridian simply because it couldn't afford to keep outdated equipment running. This time, the company is acting before reaching that breaking point. With deliveries expected to begin in the early 2030s, a new era of train travel is finally on the horizon. So, what exactly is Amtrak looking for in these next-generation Superliners? What Amtrak wants? The answer goes far beyond cosmetic upgrades. One of the most groundbreaking changes Amtrak is pushing for is full accessibility. A key requirement in the new design is the inclusion of elevators inside bi-level cars, something that's never been done before in U.S. passenger rail. It's a major leap, signaling a serious commitment to meeting the needs of passengers with disabilities and making long-distance travel more inclusive across the board. The passenger experience is also getting a much-needed refresh. Amtrak is calling for upgraded coach seating, with roomier 22-inch wide seats arranged in a 2x1 layout, offering more space and deeper recline. And for those looking for privacy, the new fleet will feature solo suites, compact private rooms where a 34-inch seat converts into a full-length flatbed. Food and beverage service is also in for an upgrade, with plans for a first-class lounge, staffed bar service, and self-serve coffee stations, all aimed at elevating the onboard experience. But comfort alone won't cut it. Operational efficiency is just as important. Between fiscal years 2022 and 2024, Amtrak spent nearly $200 million just to keep its aging Superliner fleet running. That kind of upkeep? No longer sustainable. The new cars must be more reliable, easier to maintain, and built to reduce long-term costs while keeping trains running on time. Initially, Amtrak envisioned 9 different car types for the replacement program, but as of mid-2024, that number has been streamlined to 5 or 6, simplifying production, reducing complexity, and encouraging more manufacturers to compete for the contract. The current request for proposals breaks features into 3 categories: must-haves, nice-to-haves, and won't-haves, with a clear focus on practicality and innovation. So where does the Superliner replacement effort actually stand? But before we get into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any updates from our channel about the world of trains, the timeline, and the problems. Amtrak began its Superliner replacement journey in 2022 with a request for information, collecting input from manufacturers. That feedback shaped a formal request for proposals issued in December 2023. But by mid-2024, the process ran into turbulence. Suppliers raised red flags over the scope and complexity, especially the inclusion of elevators in bi-level cars and the number of car types. This prompted Amtrak to revise the RFP and push the timeline back. The selection of a manufacturer is now expected in 2026. This shift sparked rumors that the program might be scrapped altogether. But as of last month, Amtrak reaffirmed the effort is alive and moving forward. The delay, officials say, reflects ongoing collaboration with car builders, a joint effort to refine what's actually possible. Meanwhile, Amtrak has widened its strategy. While bi-level Superliner replacements remain a top priority, a separate procurement for single-level long-distance equipment is being fast-tracked. This could help fill critical gaps elsewhere in the network, even as the Superliner project moves toward a phased rollout starting in the early 2030s. As of July 2025, Amtrak is still in the procurement phase, with no builder selected yet. But interim upgrades are already in motion. Over 270 Superliner cars were refurbished by summer 2024, and 125 new ALC-42 locomotives, part of a $2 billion investment, are steadily entering service. Yet the program faces serious hurdles. Chief among them is the challenge of design feasibility. Elevators in bi-level cars are untested in the US, and multiple car variants complicate production. These issues have led to supplier hesitation, RFP revisions, and even internal friction within Amtrak, including high-profile staff resignations. Oversight has also drawn criticism. The Office of Inspector General flagged organizational gaps in Amtrak's capital delivery team, weak contingency planning, and leadership turnover. In response, Amtrak is staffing up, bringing in 6 new executive hires and preparing a revised risk register, due by March 2025. Technical compatibility adds another layer of complexity. The new equipment must run alongside aging Superliners for years, but differences in systems like suspension and onboard tech could require costly upgrades to maintenance facilities. Then there's the issue of cost and capacity. At over $27 million each, the new cars far exceed global benchmarks. And early specs show reduced passenger space. For example, sleeper cars dropping from 43 to just 30 beds. This could limit capacity on high-demand routes, just as Amtrak looks to grow ridership following a record-breaking 2024. Still, despite the delays, cost debates, and internal challenges, the Superliner replacement is moving forward. It's a slower, more complicated process than expected, but abandoning it simply isn't an option. The future of Amtrak's long-distance network depends on getting it right. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this update insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more rail news. See you next time.